Who's out there? Come on, I can hear you shuffling around in the bushes. If you want me dead, you'll have to be quieter than that. Less sloppy. Playing the quiet game, are you? That's fine. If you don't come out right now, I'll blast the damn bush with magic. Everyone's rest be damned. So you can either show yourself, or I'll force you. Hells. It's just you. Again. You know, you shouldn't sneak up on people. Never know if they have a trigger finger when it comes to these things. If it isn't a blast of fire or lightning, it'll be a good shot to the head. Either way, dead. What are you doing out here anyway? Just because I inadvertently saved you from those gnolls doesn't mean I want you around for idle chit-chat. I have more than enough people here at camp to do that with, thank you very much. Well, then you should have made haste for the city before nightfall. That's on you, not me. If you wanted to live, then you would have forced yourself to make the trip despite the pain. But fine. I'll relent. You can stay the night. But don't count on this being a repeatable thing. There's enough fucking weirdos sleeping here without you being added to the mix. And not all of them are the cozy, friendly type like me. Luckily, most of them are asleep by now. Or off on their own personal midnight adventures. I don't know what they're doing. It's none of my business. As long as they keep their trouble away from me, I could care less what they do in their spare time. I'm sure they think the same of me. Me? A leader? I wouldn't call myself the leader, per se. It's just that someone has to keep everyone together and make the final call. Just so happens that they all turn to me. Don't really know why, considering I'm not the best at making the wisest decisions, but that's that. Though, they're all welcome to leave if we ever disagree. Not like I'm going to cry about it. Yeah, well, we're not exactly the cozy found family sort of traveling group. More like fate has forced us together, and we have to deal with it whether we like it or not. Stronger together than apart, or however that saying goes. Why? Because we want to live. I want to live. So live we shall. Now, no more questions. It'll make the midnight hour feel like an interrogation. And the last thing I want after a long day of walking and stabbing things and carrying my pack around is a questioning. Come here. Make yourself at home by the fire. If you're staying the night, there's no need for you to stand there trembling in the bushes. Defeats the purpose of letting you stay here, really. You really can't stop running your mouth, can you? Really making me regret saving you this morning, you know? I'm only halfway joking. Look, let's set one thing straight. I didn't help you. Or, let me phrase that better. I didn't really mean to help you. I needed something that the traders in your destroyed caravan were traveling with. I arrived to the scene with practiced threats. I didn't expect to find corpses and feasting monsters instead. Truthfully, I didn't even notice you hiding amongst the carnage. I just needed the gnolls dead so I could loot everything in peace. Saving you wasn't even on my mind. So, don't bother thanking me or anything. I didn't actually do anything worth being thanked for. Huh? Oh, yeah. I took a couple of things from the wreckage while you were talking with the others. Consider it payment for the trouble you've caused tonight. You don't have a problem with that, do you? That's good. Sharing the wealth is an excellent choice. Wouldn't want anything unfortunate to happen to you after all you've been through. Come on. You seem a little dim, but even you have to be smart enough to tell whether that was a joke or not. Oh, I'm sure some of my company will take issue with it, but it'll blow over in the end. It always does. Can't be too much of a goody two-shoes. It isn't in my nature, and I like keeping people on their feet. Besides, most of them would take more of an issue that I made a mess and killed someone in camp, more so than the act of me killing. You really got the wrong sort of vibes off of me, didn't you? Sure, I got the magic and the fighting prowess, but a hero? Nah, that's not my story. All I want to be is a survivor. I have enough troubles on my own plate to bother sticking my nose into other people's business. After all this is over, I just want to go home. Without the life I had before I got dragged into this mess. It was far from ideal, but my life's never been the alluring type. More like an acquired taste. But it was my life. I made it myself. Regardless of the burdens I went through day after day, every night I had a warm bed and a warm meal waiting for me. Not for me. That's all the comfort I need. And I want it back. I do anything that needs to be done. Separate people from their belongings. Guard what needs guarding. And a life or two if a patron requests it from me. Need I say more? Sure. Thief, criminal, murderer. Label it whatever you want. They're all things I've been called before. Oh, come on. No need to look at me like that. It's not like I'm some psychopath that just lusts to bury blade in flesh. I do what I need to do for coin. So unless you have a life-changing amount of gold in your pockets, I can assure you that you're fine. Besides, before we left you this morning, I went through your things and quickly realized you're in a worse off situation than me. Which is saying something. You can't be offended when there was hardly anything for me to take. I had to make sure you weren't hiding anything from me, so I looked. Hey, it's the only skill set I got, so I make use of it. Anything's allowed when you're trying to survive. People like to sit high in the morality horse, but only when they have the comfort to do so. It's easy to say you're going to be a good person when you have a cozy little home life, and you know when you put your head down on your pillow, you're going to be absolutely fine when morning comes. But I assure you, a few nights on the street with nothing to offer them comfort except a cold and an empty stomach, they'll be singing a different tune in no time. Besides, if some people are going to make a devil out of me, then well, I might as well give them a reason to if it's going to happen anyway. I'm red, with glowing red demon eyes, a tail, and horns growing out of my head. And those are the relatively normal things about me. We're not even talking about my face being branded for all to see. You tell me if some people are scared of me just based on that principle alone. Hardly a place in the world for someone like me to be normal. Entirely normal, anyway. Family? Family isn't that important. At least in my experience. Well, if family's so important, then where was yours when you were trembling in a tree waiting for the gnolls to grow bored of their feast? Ah, of course. You're a little fledgling that wanted to prove yourself all grown up by making a trip down to the city on your own. Looks like that's entirely fucked now. You want advice from me? Alright, well, in my opinion, you have two options. The easiest for you to do is just turn tail and make your way back home, back to whatever backwater village you crawled out from. Let your family cover you in a blanket of comfort until you feel all better. I'd call this little encounter a prologue to the amount of bullshit you have to wade through in order to make a life in the city. Firstly, you'll have to figure out how to get in. The guards will likely take one look at you and try to shake you down for money. They'll say some garbage like, "Oh, the city guard requires a donation from the citizens to ensure everyone's safety." That just means, pay us, or your sorry ass isn't getting through these gates. When you finally get through, then you have to find a place to stay while being broke, which is a battle unto itself. Let's not even start with the grand adventure it'll be finding work. Enjoy days of doing intense labor just to make enough to survive, but never enough to live. And so is the fate of so many. The second option. And I thought I was being clear. The second option is to hold your own in the city and force yourself into the narrative. Just because it's more likely you'll live in relative squalor doesn't mean that you can't fight your way above it. When there's a will, there's a way. Though, I'd bet more money on you choosing the first option. It seems more your style. Hey, at the end of the day, it's your choice. I'm just throwing my opinion in there. Like you asked. Ultimately, I don't care what you do. If things go my way, then I'll never see you again after tonight. No, don't mind the mouse. That's excellent. She probably just wants a late night snack. Been sleeping ever since we got back to camp. Don't worry, she's not gonna crawl on you or anything. She's politer company than I am. No, I'm not joking. Excellence is my friend. I care for her, and she me. I don't really consider her a pet. Feels weird to call her one when I can talk to her. Well, this ring is magic. Found it off someone ages ago. Ever since then, I recite a little spell, and bam, I talk to animals. I can do the same thing with corpses as long as I wear this necklace. Sounds weird, but really helps in an investigation. Really speeds things up when you can just ask what the hell's happened. What can I say? A girl likes free magical jewelry. Well, when you travel to really obscure places like I do, you're likely to find the items like hotcakes. Though, I'm not really the one to talk to when it comes to magical things. I know more than the average person, but I'm not like a scholar or anything. You're better off talking with the wizard. He'll be happy to talk your ear off about anything arcane. Honestly, that's why I keep him perfectly contained at camp, where he can't annoy me. I appreciate his knowledge, but he has a sort of holier-than-thou attitude when it comes to magic. Which is deserved, since he does know more about it than anyone else, but by the gods, I don't want to hear it. Well, yes, I do magic, but that doesn't mean I've studied it like a wizard would. Some people have influences on their bloodline, or are born with a certain amount of aptitude. Me? No, neither of those are the case for me. I made a deal. A deal I really shouldn't have, but what's done is done. I adhered to their bidding, and in return, I gained both the ability to bend magic to my will and a certain degree of knowledge, whenever it's pertinent to my cause. Sometimes it helps to have otherworldly manipulation, though I wouldn't exactly go advising others to follow in my footsteps. Is it really any of your business to know more than that? Nosy bastard. I couldn't tell you more even if I wanted to. Lips sealed and all that, so it's best to just leave that subject alone. Anyway, here. A bedroll. You can keep it. I have extras. Well, yeah, it's a bit strange to have extras, but I'm a bit of a hoarder, so I do have extras. And honestly, you should be thankful I am one. Else you have to curl up on the dirt. Wake up in the morning with an aching back and aching ears. Oh, you'll understand what I mean when you get the same awakening we all get here in camp. Yeah, well, I think I'll call it a night. Need a lot of rest. Tomorrow's gonna be a big day. I can feel it. And if you wanted, we could take you to town tomorrow. Make sure you get there all right and all that, since you're hopeless. Only if you want to, though. If you want to go and get lost before you've even woken up, then be my guest. Oh, you're welcome. Have a good night.